All right, so we got how did the Emperor create the Primarchs of Warhammer 40k lore, which is pretty interesting because I never really thought about that as a Warhammer new booty. I never really thought about that. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
G'day guys and gals.
What's up?
Primarchs. They are the sugar to Warhammer 40k's cake. Each one known and beloved by thousands of people across the globe.
True.
Every moment of their lives studied by legions of neckbeards who would give their left nut one of their tweets. As such, we all know their origins, right? The biggie wanked off.
Oh, okay. See. Hey. See. Watch this. See. I'm like Nikocado avocado. I'm always 2 steps ahead. Now, if you guys, hey, listen, I got a mute button. For the display capture, right? If Majorkill, if he says some, oh, bro, listen, you know how he gets, bro. And I got a high screen button too, bro. Yeah, I'm not taking no precautions. Yo. All right, I'm just letting you know. So if you ever, if you see me going up and down like these, you hear no audio, that means Majorkill going off right now. He crashing out. Okay. All right.
To a tube and voila, 20 demigods with the power to bring the galaxy itself to
Only in
its
the first
knees.
3 minutes, y'all.
Well, that's actually not entirely accurate. Like, I'm sure their creation did involve the Emperor's semen in some capacity, but there's a lot more to it than that. What if I told you that each Primarch soul was extremely old, maybe even older than the Emperor himself? What if I told you that each Primarch was the result of extreme bioscience mixed in with literal warp gods? Sounds pretty...
So, okay. I did hear that the Emperor used some of the warp to make the kids. I did hear that. I heard that, y'all. I did hear about that. I promise I did. No lie.
Spicy, right? Before we do get started though, this is the last time I'll ever mention it, because it's the last time I'll ever need to mention it. 1,000.
Oh,
1,000
nice.
subscribers is all that stands between us and the arch enemy.
Oh, nice.
This has been a long war, but the time for...
By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Candy with 2 Y's. It's at the bottom of the screens right here. It takes 2 seconds. Just go, bro. It's in the description. All right, you just tap it. Just tap the Twitch thing, bro. And there I am. You see my profile picture and everything, bro. Just give it a follow, bro.
Bakura is upon us, so grab your ball and smash that juicy red button. Out of all the channels I've conquered,
I'm not
none
playing.
will be as satisfying.
I'm not playing
as
with him,
March.
bro.
And trust me, what I have planned for the takeover will be truly entertaining.
I'm not playing with
Today
him.
we will go over the multiple convoluted ingredients that went into the creation of the Primarchs, paying special attention to why they were so special, as well as the fact that the Big E probably kidnapped warp gods in order to create his sons. Let's get into it. Before we get into the how,
Let's get into it. Of course, I had to do it.
let's get into the why the Primarchs were created.
Okay.
After all, they seem to have done a lot more harm than good, and the Imperium has survived and at times thrived in the 10,000 years since most of them vanished. Well, originally the Primarchs weren't a part of the Emperor's plan. When he was laying down the foundations for the Imperium during the Unification Wars, he had a bunch of guys and gals helping him out. Like him, they were immortal perpetuals with varying degrees of power and a lot of wisdom. They were supposed to be his commanders and warlords during the Great Crusade.
Yeah.
But when they figured out he was planning to bend the galaxy over and fill it with his... pretty much all of them abandoned him one by one. See, they were wise enough to realize that he was a ruthless tyrant, but they didn't have the foresight to see that the galaxy needed a ruthless tyrant if it was to survive the horrors of Warhammer 40k.
Wait, really?
By the end of the Unification Wars, only Eldar, whose perpetual powers were second only to the Big E, and Malkador, who's an absolute bro and understood the necessity for the Emperor's plan, stayed by his side.
Okay.
However, the 3 of them were not enough to conquer the galaxy, hence the Big E begun the Primarch project, and as a consequence of that, also begun the Astartes project, as the Astartes required Primarch DNA to exist. The Big E needed these super commanders, as opposed to just using Space Marines or Guardsmen.
So basically, he made them for extra help. Okay, so just like every other parent, and whenever it comes to making kids, okay. Hey, one day, listen. When that little kid, grows up a little bit and he learns how to talk, and he or she learns how to talk, read, do whatever, bro. Bro, it's your time, bro. Yep. Wash the dishes, sweep the floor. Yeah, bro. Hey, we all had to do it. We all had to do it. So you know what? For the Emperor's sake, I'm gonna lean off. I'm not gonna say, oh, well, he made his kids, for help or whatever. Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of with the Emperor on this one.
Win the galaxy as it has been heavily hinted that the Great Crusade was under time pressure. The galaxy had to be dominated very quickly if the Biggie's plan was to succeed. On top of that, there were numerous extremely powerful Xeno empires which were only beaten due to the brilliance of the Primarchs. If there were no Primarchs, then it's likely the Rangdan may have even beaten the Imperium. There's a few theories on what created the time pressure for the Great Crusade. Perhaps the Emperor foresaw the arrival of the Tyranids and the awakening of the Necrons, but he wasn't sure when that would occur. Or maybe he knew that with the ever-increasing psychic awakening of humanity, chaos would eventually become a huge pain in the fucking ass. Regardless, the race against time was so full on that the Biggie mind-raped Lorgar and his legion because they were taking over planets too slowly, whilst he let Angron sodomize world after world because he was doing it at a pretty solid pace.
Okay.
Alright, we got the why.
Okay.
Who gives a fuck about the when, so let's do the how.
Okay.
Early lore stated that the Biggie wanked in 20 extremely racially diverse demigod babies were born,
Okay.
and they were yeeted across the galaxy. But recent lore has shaken it up. Firstly, the introduction of Eldar as the Primarch's mother.
All right, now one of you guys, one of the viewers. Oh man, I'm sorry I forgot your name, man. I did yesterday when I was actually talking about why, like, you know, why like a lot of people like why I think it was Majorkill's video on why a bunch of people hate Games Workshop or whatever. I did mention Erda at the end of the we call it at the end of the video whenever I was reading off the comment, and so we don't know, is this true, y'all? Like, is the whole Erda thing, is this true on how like, is this true or nah?
Biggie was a smart little cookie, but he couldn't have made the Astartes or the Primarchs without help from his friends.
Okay.
So using Erda's brilliance combined with both their DNA, he was able to make the Primarchs, but they were missing something: the special sauce. See, the Biggie was the most powerful of the Perpetuals due to his fuck-off hectic psycho powers. His understanding of the warp and wizardry completely shut on everyone else's. So I have a cheeky little theory. Erda was the one that yeeted the baby Primarchs across the galaxy. That is fact. Current law says she did that after realizing the Emperor wanted to use them, her children, as pawns in his game of galactic chess. But like, surely she already knew that. What else was he going to use them for? Fucking farming?
Yeah, facts.
What, you're just going to get your 10 feet...
Well, I mean, like... Bro, like... duh. What are we... Why would she... Like, okay. Alright, let's be reasonable a little bit. Because at the end of the day, if that's the case, she is the mother. I understand. Right? She wants to be like, you know what, man? We're gonna... Let me see. Let me Tom Brady you all the way to Pluto. All right, we're going to take this one right here. I want to send this one to Italy. Like, I understand. Like, she doesn't want the kids to be pawns or whatever. But at the same time, bro, what are they going to be? I mean, bro, they turned out to be worse. Some of them actually, you know, fulfilled their duty. Obviously, you know, Vulcan. But, like, bro, some of them, you know, became crash outs and D1 menaces. So, like, I don't know.
Play video games all day. Hence, current law makes Erda look like a fucking idiot. But here's why I believe she isn't. When the Primarchs were being made, the Biggie entered the warp and one by one captured, bargained with, or enticed 20 powerful warp gods into entering the bodies of each Primarch. This does sound a bit far-fetched, but not when you look at recent Blood Angels lore. Recent Blood Angels lore has revealed that there are two angels fighting in the warp, one dark and one light. The destiny of those angels is directly tied in with the Blood Angels, with Mephiston being the avatar of darkness, whilst the Sanguinor is the avatar of light. Those angels have been around long before the Primarchs even existed. So is it just a coincidence that Sanguinius looks like an angel, had both dark and light in him, and upon his death, his sons then got soulbound to two warp angels? Of course it isn't, you fucking retard. Those two angels were taken by the Biggie and shoved into the body of Sanguinius. Upon Sanguinius' death, they were released back into the warp, where they continue to fight. With the release of the Dark Angel, the Blood Angels gain the Black Rage.
How come I never knew it? Bro, I never knew there was two angels in the warp. I didn't know that. I promise you, I did not know that. That's crazy. I gotta get a video on that. I did not know that there was two angels in the warp. Okay.
The Emperor didn't engineer Red Thirst and Black Rage into the Blood Angels for a laugh. It's there because of the volatility of the gods that were within Sanguinius. Do you think the Biggie wanted Conrad to be this fucking spastic emo Batman?
True.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Into Conrad's Primarch body was obviously a twisted one.
Wow. Okay, so that actually makes sense. That makes sense. That okay. This is showing why some of them are crash out. Some of them are like, but like okay. So like, what about like the good Primarchs though? What about them? Like, what makes them so good? And then like the other ones like crash outs. Like this guy right here, like this guy foaming out fruit punch. Like what? Like what? Huh. Okay.
This would also explain why the Biggie allowed Eldar to throw the babies into the warp. They all landed on the worlds that they were supposed to land on, the worlds that would help unlock their god powers and make them the Primarchs that they were destined to be.
That makes
sense. If the
sense.
Biggie had forced them all to remain on Terra and grow up as military leaders, their power and potential would have been heavily stunted.
Yeah, would have been stunted,
It wasn't the Chaos Gods who decided where each baby Primarch would land, nor was it Eldars or the Emperors. It was the gods within the baby Primarchs themselves. To back this theory up even further, when Primarchs are killed, they release a huge burst of light as the shockwave of their death is felt within all their Space Marine sons. Now you could say that that is due to them being loaded with psychic power, but in the Eisenhorn book Malleus, when various Alpha Plus Psykers are killed, Alpha Plus being just the most fucking disgustingly overpowered Psykers there are, they die like normal men. No big light show or dramatic exit. Yet when Ferrus and Alpharius, two Primarchs with 0 Psyker powers, died, they lit up like fucking Christmas trees. This would have been their god souls leaving their now dead bodies. To add to that even further, Malcador basically says that given enough time, they could have revived Ferrus, despite his body being completely destroyed. That is because all they needed to do was use hectic biomancy to create him a new body, then use some hectic warp sorcery to grab Ferrus's god from the warp and put it back in his new body. This is also why Horus getting completely obliterated, soul and all, was a huge deal. The Emperor had to literally kill the god within Horus. The body of a Primarch, even without the god soul, is still a formidable thing. The clone of Horus that Abaddon killed was still a fierce warrior, and was massacring Space Marines easily, yet Abaddon was able to end its life without too much drama. From what I recall, there was also no big burst of light when the clone...
Obviously, like, the Primarchs are legit, like, demigods in a way. I knew that, but like, dang, like that's crazy. So this is why, this is why the Emperor, this is why they specifically said, oh, well, even though the Emperor took out Horus, whatever, they also took out his soul too. This is why whenever they say that, they have to like split him up and be like, oh, they took out Horus and his soul, because like his soul made him like a god, right? Or like godlike, right? That's crazy. And so he can't come back. Like, it's GG's. Like, it's finito. It's done. Wowzers.
Died. That's because it didn't have the god within it, as the god had been destroyed.
Yep.
The famous
That makes
Primarch
sense.
aura, the Primarch's ability to tap into and shape destiny, and the Primarch's true power comes from the god within them. When Angron got the Butcher's nails, it created a disconnect between his body and his god soul. This is why he has a really weak Primarch aura, and why so many of his sons hated him.
Yeah.
After all, when the traders revealed their cards, the World Eaters had the most amount of Astartes that remained loyal to the Emperor, despite the fact that they had the Butcher's nails. So what happened to the god souls within the Trader Primarchs? Were they corrupted?
Yeah.
Are they even still there? I would say no, and I'll explain my reasoning with evidence in a second.
Okay.
My belief is that the Trader Primarchs had their god souls removed during their ascension to demonhood, and then were filled up with a ton of warp juice to replace the whole, giving them loads of power and depriving them of what made them truly special.
So they was basically spiked up on like, evil Red Bull, basically. Okay, that makes sense.
This is why that despite
That makes
10,000
sense.
years of the Imperium not having loyalist Primarchs, it has been able to repel various Chaos invasions led by Trader Primarchs. They traded their special source for a shitload of cheaper source. My evidence for this is the perfect clone of Fulgrim. Fabius Bile has cloned various Primarchs, the Horus clone, Ferrus clones, as well as Fulgrim clones. However, each clone just wasn't quite right. They weren't a true Primarch. Eventually, a Fulgrim clone was created that was perfect. It was a Primarch and it had its Primarch aura. Fabius wasn't sure why this one worked when all the others didn't, because he knows fuck all about the warp. Like in a galaxy full of literal demons, Fabius was an atheist. Somehow. I would say that this Fulgrim clone became a true Primarch, as the god soul of Fulgrim had been discarded back into the warp when he became a demon. Hence it found this Fulgrim clone and re-entered it, making the Fulgrim clone the true Fulgrim.
That's great. So wait, The clone was like the clone was basically an atheist, and then the soul went into the fake fulcrum, whatever, which basically turned him into the real one. That is wowzers. Like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm trying my best to like keep up with everything. Now, I do know that, like, like Majorkill said, this is his theory. Like, we really don't know. I wish, like, I wish Gamesworkshop would legit like come up with like an official, like, no, this is official, right? Or did Majorkill say, oh, this is my theory of what happened? Because I don't know if like how the Primarchs are made. I don't know if that's like in the official books or not. So I don't know. But I think Majorkill said this is his theory on how they're made. So, yeah, just know that if you get lost or whatever, just know I'm not necessarily lost, but at the same time, like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, but I can't really put into words on how I get it. Does that mean that I'm a little dumb? Maybe.
Like, as the Fulgrim clone grew older,
so what?
he actually remembered his past life as Fulgrim up until his ascension, as that was when the God Soul was discarded. It's just a shame he's now an exhibit in Tzeentch's big-ass museum. Clone Grim versus Demon Grim would be a hell of a showdown. Now, I do want to iterate that this hasn't been outright declared, but the evidence is overwhelming. When the Emperor entered the warp to gain the power he needed to create the Primarchs, was it raw power he gained, or was it the essence of 20 warp gods that he took? Considering he didn't get a big power boost until later on, I would argue for the latter. The 2 warp angels is the biggest bit of evidence for me though, like, that basically confirms this as 100% canon if you ask me. This also explains why the Emperor didn't just make 20 Guillimans or Rogals, despite that being the best outcome for the Imperium.
Yeah.
The Emperor actually had little influence on how the Primarchs' personalities and power would manifest. All he could do was provide the warp gods with vessels capable of holding them.
Bro, Bro, I bet he had this plan. Like, it's just saying that it's just saying, and I don't know if some people heard about it or whatever, but it's just saying that sometimes God laughs at our plans sometimes, right? And it's crazy how the Emperor's like, you know what, man, I don't care, bro. Just give it to me. Just give me all the like the warp power, whatever. I don't care, whatever. Da, 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 da. And in his head, he's probably thinking, okay, I'm about to make these 20 just me like characters or whatever. Da 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 da. Man, these guys spawned out, and to be honest with you, you have to understand. I was really about to say though, like those guys spawned out to be straight crash outs or whatever, but you have to understand that some of their environments have influence who they are. You get what I'm saying? So that guy that had the nails or whatever, the reason the reason basically the reason he's like auraless basically is because he got the nails or whatever, and he was raised as like a slave and stuff like that. Angron, right? And so to be honest with you, that's kind of like not his fault. That's just where he was and where he was born and how he grew up. Like, and so at the end of the day, I don't really blame that. Like, obviously I troll and say, oh, your Primarchs are weak, da 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 da. You guys know that. But at the end of the day, truly though, you have to understand that all these guys were born legit at different places. And like Majorkill said, they were supposed to go to these places. So was Angron always supposed to be a crash out that was weaker than most of the Primarchs or whatever? Like, was he supposed to lose his mind and stuff like that? Obviously, like, this is a fictional thing, but you have to understand, like if he was supposed to be there, I don't know if they sent him, and I forgot what place he was born or whatever, but obviously if you heard like the story of like Angron and stuff like that, bro, we actually reacted to it, bro. He was not born in a good place, bro. I think he was born. I think he grew up with like a best friend, whatever. The best friend got killed. He was raised like a slave or whatever. Then they put like the nails, whatever, in his mind and something like that, which made him crash out. And now like he's just a demigod crash out. So at the end of the day, like, if that was supposed to happen, if the Emperor sent him to those to the planet, whatever, just for him to go through that, that's a pretty messed up that's a pretty messed up what's the word, like, destiny, if that makes sense. Like, it's just, I don't know, like, was he supposed to overcome that? Was he supposed to avoid that? Was he supposed to escape or whatever in his decisions? Because at the end of the day, just because you're supposed to be here at this place at this time at this whatever doesn't mean that you're supposed to get this thing. yes, it does, but at the same time, if you are not prepared for it, if you are not, if you don't make the jump, if you don't whatever, at the end of the day, you know, you can miss out on the opportunity. Just because something is for you, doesn't mean that you know you're gonna get it. You have to be there to get it, you know, or you have to, you know, make that sacrifice or make that jump or whatever. And I know I'm talking about like I know I'm yapping a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe you guys could take that as advice or whatever. You know, just in case you guys need some of that. You know, I'm not like an older guy, or whatever. I'm as young as you, but at the end of the day, or I'm probably younger than you. You know, you're an old head. But at the end of the day, no, like obviously non-joking, respectfully. At the end of the day, you know, you never know, man. You know, it's all about sacrifice, jump, being there at the same time. That's why I don't really believe in luck. I don't really believe in luck. Obviously, like you know, I believe in I believe in God, so I don't really believe in luck. I feel like everything happens for a reason. So I don't want to get all like you know too spiritual on you guys or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, I don't know. I just feel like if it's for you, if it's for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And there's a reason why. So I didn't mean to get all like deep and stuff like that. You know what, man? Sometimes we need to get deep. Why not?
The implications of this very supported theory are huge. All Primarchs, theoretically, can be returned now, other than Horus. Now in practice this is hard because it took 2 god-tier perpetuals, a lot of science, and a lot of war power from a non-skeletal emperor to achieve this, but that's probably for the best. I'm all for Primarchs returning to the setting, but it should be done slowly and meaningfully. The setting is ready for the line to wake up. It would shake things up and it would help justify mankind's continued existence, despite the Great Rift opening, the return of the Silent King, and the ever-increasing tides of the Tyranids. If you enjoyed the video,
shout out to Majorkill, man, for the video, man. Comment down below. What do you guys think about this? To be honest, this is a very interesting video. I'm glad Majorkill didn't go off, you know, with his mouth and stuff like that, you know, throughout the video. Other than that, man, comment down below. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just, you know how YouTube is, you know, what the, you get what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Make sure you guys follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/KingND with 2 Y's. I'm going to say that. Out. Peace out.